Good evening and welcome to another episode of Rich Politics. Welcome back to another episode of Rich Politics in a series of talks we've been calling Lockdown Hams. Last week, we spoke to social commentator, broadcaster and writer Esther Krake when we looked at the economical impact that lockdowns had on so many people around the country. Whilst it's easy to focus on the economical cost of lockdown, the human cost, in my opinion, is much greater. And of course, there are many factors that contributed to the damage caused by lockdowns that have had a devastating impact on both young and old. Loneliness, anxiety, fear, the financial impact, as many were forced by government to isolate under what they called emergency powers. What often gets forgotten is the stories of real people and the pain they experience because of lockdowns. Well, tonight we're going to be speaking to a mother who's with us to share her story. Why, you may say? Because her voice, along with many others, needs to be heard. Trudi, welcome to Rich Politics. Thank you, first of all, so much for agreeing to come on. I know it's not easy to share your story, but do you want to begin by telling our viewers your story and the story about Benjamin?
Oh, right. So I'll begin by saying 2019 and then New Year's, seeing the new year in 2020. I must say that Benjamin lived in Yorkshire. I'm down in Leicester with all my family. Benjamin was here.
Tell us about Benjamin. So Benjamin's your son, right? Tell us a little bit about Benjamin. What was he like as a child? Give us a bit of background.
A handful sometimes. He loved football. He went to Scouts. His main thing was gaming, all the video games and that. He was a likable boy, but lacked self-confidence. He smashed his exams. Very clever boy.
So
fast forward.
I know, likable lad. But it's nice to get. I know it's hard for you. Very different. I do appreciate you being very honest and open, Trudi. Fast forward to 2019. Then the first lockdown, if you like, began, and the government imposed these legislations and emergency powers and isolated so many people. I mentioned in my introduction there the impact it had on so many people's mental well-being and their health because of fear and anxiety and loneliness, of course, which is often a killer in a lot of people as well. Tell us the story from there. What happened? What's your experience? Tell us your story.
Well, soon after he went back to Yorkshire in 2020, we were already organising him coming down for Easter to see his family, etc. And obviously the lockdown happened and that didn't happen. And Benjamin was really, really upset by that. And then as the months went on, I think I can't even remember, Richard, the dates of things, but I do remember Leicester was placed into a lockdown. I think it was one of the first regional lockdowns, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Leicester did have that, didn't they? Because they were doing it by regions, and council and local authorities were exercising powers which was beyond their reach, really, and they were doing it. Leicester was in one of those categories.
Yeah, and Ben again was going to come down. He was going to celebrate his birthday, and then my birthday, my mum's 80th.
And that would have been Benjamin's 25th, wasn't it? 25th.
Benjamin was 20. Yeah, Benjamin was 25.
Yeah.
It was in Leicester for his birthday.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was saying.
Well, he was meant to come down, and because of lockdowns, obviously he couldn't come down then, could he? So, I mean, and he went through it was challenging, very difficult for him, wasn't it? Yeah,
it was, but he was upset that he couldn't come to Leicester to his family. Obviously I'm his mum.
Yeah.
And his cousin and his little cousin, who was 4 at the time, adored him, and they had a fantastic relationship. It was just magical, Richard. It really was.
Yeah.
And then I spoke to him on the phone probably a couple of days in July before it happened. And he was his normal self, moaning about the world, thinking he had coronavirus because he had a sore throat.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, son, come on. It was a bit of a hypochondriac. And then that weekend, he went to a friend's barbecue and he was fine. He was looking after the person's grandfather. He'd had a hip operation and everyone was saying how lovely Ben was to him. He stayed behind and helped clear up and everything. And that was 3 days before it happened. And then obviously Tuesday, July the 14th, 2020, I got the call.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Did you at any point, Trudi, I know it's difficult for you to share this, any point have any fears that Benjamin, was struggling?
No.
Not at all. There was no signs or nothing. And
no.
I know it's very difficult and emotional for you to share. I know that you've shared a bit on social media of your journey, and you've had a lot of support from a lot of people, and there's idiots out there as well, I know. And this is why I feel honored and humbled that you've agreed to come on to talk about this, because it's not easy for you. I lost my younger brother at 35, different circumstances, but I know the pain of losing someone, and it's difficult. And I just wonder, do you to this, because I've heard you share on social media, you actually have a feeling that lockdown contributed to a large part of what Benjamin went through, don't you?
Oh yeah, clearly, because it kept him isolated from his family. And then when Leicester got plunged into the depths of lockdown, he was like, I can't come and see you, Mum. I can't come and see my grandma, my grandpa. And and do you know what, Richard? I'm going to point on something now. When I do put about the lockdown and I think it contributed to Ben's death, you get people that go, well, how do you know? How do you know? And then you get people that come on with their statistics. They've been online and had a look at, I don't care about statistics. That's my son. And that annoys me. And the fact that government, they don't care about anybody.
I mean,
I'd just love them to acknowledge what they've done.
Yeah,
I think the impact.
I think it's no. Don't listen. If I shouldn't be interrupting you. This is about your story, not mine. This clearly has had a huge impact on you as mum and the rest of your family as well, I should imagine, Trudi. And
it's ripped us apart. I can't.
Yeah, and do you think the government, and I think I know the answer to this already, should be held to account for what happened?
Yeah, it's like the Together Declaration.
Yeah.
I did that the other day, and like I said, my head was frazzled at the time, and now I've had 5 minutes to get my thoughts together. I wish I'd have added so much more. Who did they meet up and think about the possibilities of the impact on people's mental health?
Yeah. I mean, how does it make you feel, Trudi, then? I mean, I know a lot of people are trying to say, well, we've moved on from Partygate. When things like this were happening, where people were locked away and isolated from their loved ones and family, that politicians who made the rules were breaking the rules. How did that make you feel?
Sick. And I wasn't the only one, and it's disgusting. But they don't care, and I think for me it's the fact that they don't care. I mean, why would they care? I'm just a mum that's lost a son. I'm not important.
Yeah, well,
and that hurts.
Well, Trudi, obviously Benjamin sounded like an absolute legend of a young man, and I know he's been greatly missed by you. And I've been following your story a little bit on social media, and I want to thank you for being so open and so honest. I mean, I know this is difficult for you to say, but if you could speak to Boris Johnson, I mean, and those who made these rules that isolated so many people, that caused so much pain for a lot of families, that they're untold stories. We know about the economical impact. We know what it's caused with businesses, and we're paying for it now. But I wanted to bring up the human cost tonight with you, because this is real, this is raw, and this is what lockdowns have done to a lot of people in the country, isn't it? What would you say to them?
Why? I don't. Words actually fail me, Richard.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I've emailed him a few times.
I can imagine you have. But look, Trudi, you know, I hope that we can meet up sometime in the near future when I'm up in your kind of neck of the woods or whatever, and you're welcome to come to Wales anytime. My home is your home. You're welcome to come for a cup of coffee. If you're ever passing the Brecon Beacons, you must pop in and see us. My wife and I would love to see you. I just want to say,
bless you. Thanks, Richard. I do appreciate you giving me the time, you know, and you know, with the Twitter and everything, it's so nice. But Richard, I'm just one of so many people.
Yeah, you are. There are tens of thousands of people, that Trudy, that we can talk about, and you've been brave enough to come on to Rich Politics tonight. So I just want to say a huge, big thank you. Thank you, Trudy.
No,
we love
massive
you.
Thank you, Richard. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, folks, that was Trudy, who shared her story of the impact lockdown had on her family, and in particular her son Benjamin, and may he rest in peace. And I want to say a huge big thank you to her and her family for being so strong, brave to come on to the show tonight to share with you, our viewers. We'll be back next week right here on Rich Politics. Bye for now.